New developments tonight in the search for Nancy Guthrie in Tucson. Where is the 84-year-old? Is she still alive? And are investigators close to tracking down the suspect caught on camera? Over the weekend, a SWAT raid just 2 miles from Nancy's home. 3 people reportedly temporarily detained. Now, DNA results are coming in. Will they lead to a suspect? Will they lead to Nancy? Meanwhile, her heartbroken daughter, Savannah, reaching out directly to her mother's kidnappers. It's the case everyone is talking about. And tonight we take a look at all the new developments, including the latest statement by the sheriff about the investigation of the family as the search for their mom, Nancy Guthrie, continues. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. The search continues tonight for Nancy Guthrie. Think about this, 84 years old. She's mom. And not like young mom, she's an elderly mom who has lived an incredible life in raising her family and should be enjoying each and every moment at this point at age 84. But this mom is missing. Strange case. Doesn't make any sense to anyone. And tonight we still don't have an answer, but it just seems like we're getting closer and closer. But when you think about this 84-year-old mom, understand that her children are also victims in all of this. Could you imagine the heartache that they're going through and trying to understand all of this? Trying to understand why anyone on earth, first of all, would have anything bad to say about their mother, but then do what has been done to her? Go into that house in the middle of the night, remove her as she's apparently bleeding, and then hold her captive for all this time? And the family doesn't know what to do here. And they are also victims in all of this. Now, during the course of this case, we have seen the investigators inside of Annie's house. Savannah's sister, Nancy's other daughter, who lives close by. 4 miles away, 10-minute drive, very close by. But investigators have been inside there. At night, see the flashing going off, taking the photographs. We've seen them take the mail. We've seen them remove things from Annie's house. This has all been documented for the public. And at the same time all that's happening, we also heard from the sheriff that no one has been cleared in this case. So you put those two pieces together and let them simmer for a while. What is the public going to think? No one's been cleared, and we're literally looking for evidence inside Annie's home, taking pictures, removing items. Like, what exactly is going on here? And that led many people to wonder, is the family under a microscope? Is Annie under a microscope? Is her husband Tommaso under a microscope? And the internet did what the internet does in situations like that. But tonight, we get some clarity from the sheriff himself, posting about this. Take a look at this. This is straight from the sheriff himself. To be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. Yes, I get it, Sheriff. I understand that. But understand what you said. No one has been cleared, and you're inside the house getting evidence. This is why in a case like this, the lines of communication, and it's not just the media, it's social media, it's the public. In a case that is this high profile, you have to expect and understand when you say no one has been cleared and you are going in and out of Annie's house, that some people are going to wonder, are they not? Potential suspects in all of this, which is why a moment like this, where you provide some clarity, is important. But then don't take it the next step and start wagging your finger when you've been asked these questions and you haven't had any press conferences to clarify it. That it's like someone is doing something wrong by wondering, is the family potentially a suspect in this case? It's a direct result of what they've seen and what they've heard and what they haven't heard until tonight. If it was such a problem and it was so obvious that it should have been clear, then you can make it clear, like you just did. Like, that's the way it works. I don't know why he does it the way he's doing it here. I mean, this is a high-profile case. We know everyone's interested. We know everyone's watching. We know everyone is literally talking about it online, at the water cooler, in the neighborhood, texting each other. So here we are. So I'm glad we've landed here. I've been waiting for this moment, for someone to be cleared. Because in every case we've ever covered at Court TV, we know that the investigation begins with those closest to the victim and then works its way out. And the first thing that most investigators do in these cases is clear people. And now it's been done publicly. Thank you. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining me tonight, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III, along with criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone tonight.
Great to be here, Vin.
Let's talk about the sheriff. There's no obligation to speak publicly. I get it. He does work for the people. He knows the nature of this case. Why is it taken to this point to clear the family when the last time he spoke about whether or not anyone's cleared, he said no one was cleared?
Well, you know, Vin, he's been thorough. He wants to be thorough. He wants to make sure that everything that's going forward is going forward correctly. It's so easy to jump to conclusions, as we've seen in the internet and things along those lines, which were attacking the family and attacking the son-in-law and things along those lines. And he's got to be very careful the steps he takes with regards to the information he's provided. So, I mean, now the family has been cleared, which is, a step forward. And we are now aware of that. Now maybe people will start paying attention to some other things. So, I mean, it's not uncommon in circumstances like this that he would take this kind of precautions and be very, very, slow in leaving out information.
Right. But Darnell, I understand all that, but the statement that he released was almost like wagging his finger at people. How dare you? How dare you? To be clear, they're not sus. But he wasn't clear before. He was the exact opposite of clear. He said nobody was cleared.
Yeah, so the funny thing about it is that when I think about this and I read about this, I think to myself, if I could speak to him, I'd say, do me a favor by doing me no favors. Do your job. And to do your job means that everyone is a potential suspect. We've seen on Court TV the Murdoch case. We've seen just a couple weeks ago the guy who killed his brother and his brother's family and burned down the houses. Things happen. So we're not accusing anyone, and you can't try a case to the social media. They're going to say what they want. So I know he's trying to be compassionate because he's a small town sheriff, but the FBI is still out there. So just because he said that they're cleared doesn't mean that I'm going to believe that. I'm going to wait till other agencies conclude. So to make us feel good is one thing, but to do your job and to include every single person who might have had an interest or an opportunity, that's giving us the confidence we need in the investigation. Don't just make us feel good. So he has not been clear. He should not wag his finger, and he shouldn't do us any favors.
Jennifer, as I think about the way this has all, transpired, it's one thing to say, okay, they've been cleared, but it's a different thing to say, well, to be clear, they've been cleared, when he's not clear about it, has never been clear, and was saying the opposite, that no one was cleared the last time we heard from him. So it's kind of strange to be accusatory of other people of doing things when you haven't been clear. It's like he's almost saying, like, don't you guys get it? The family's been cleared here, but that was never made clear to anyone. Like maybe behind closed doors, but not to the public and not to social media and not to the people of Tucson.
Vinny, I think what is abundantly clear, we've been talking about this for 3 weeks now. I think this is the third week. And I think what is abundantly clear is that no one knows who did this or why they did it or what is going on. Because it seems that every time we talk about it and every time you hear a news report, they're on to something else. They're looking at somebody else. They're stopping people. They're questioning people. They're giving us videos and photos. They're talking about evidence. They're searching the property, taking pictures at the family's home. And, here we are, weeks after the incident occurred, and we still have no answers. So I think what's clear is that nothing's clear.
Yeah, well, you made that very clear, Jennifer. I appreciate that. So and I didn't necessarily suspect the family, but like everything's wide open. Like that's the first place you look in every investigation when someone is missing. Who is closest to, and I get it that they were investigated. You should be able to clear them, right? If they didn't do it, they should be thoroughly investigated and then cleared, which is what has happened today. But I don't understand why there has to be the little add-on that, the media is doing something wrong or if people are doing something wrong, when this is the first time that it's been stated publicly that the Guthrie family has been cleared, which is great, because now the investigation can move out from there and can be focused in other places, and the public can begin to look to help in other places other than looking at the family themselves.
I think there's a distinction to be made between being cleared and no longer being a suspect. So I don't think they should be clearing anyone. He could say that the family is not a suspect or not suspects. However, the investigation is ongoing. I think that's a very astute statement to make, right? In the feds, they always say you're a person of interest, a target, or I forget the other one. Al might know. But they have categories in Fed cases. Same thing here. They're not suspects, but the investigation is ongoing, and we're not clearing anybody until we're finished. I think that's the more intelligent way to approach.
Right, but what he said is the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. And to me, that's very clear. That means they're clear. They're not suspects. They're not even possible suspects here, Al.
Well, but what do you expect? The sheriff is going to try to, cover his own butt with regards to the way he's been handling this. And the fact that he has been, nobody's out, everyone's a suspect, we have cleared no one. And then he turns it around and puts it on the media and everything else. Why? Because he's trying to protect himself. He wants to look good because he's sure he's getting grief saying that by throwing that out there, everyone thought the family was somehow involved. And now he's backpedaling, which is typical of anyone who is a politician. And sheriffs are politicians.
Let's take a listen.
He's just doing this to cover his own butt.
Yeah, I get it, Al. And that's a good distinction. He's law enforcement, but he's also has to be elected. So that, by definition, makes him a politician as well. Here's Savannah Guthrie, who released another statement, and you can just see how difficult all this is. But this is like a direct plea to whoever took her mom.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Jennifer, what are your thoughts tonight? Is that what it's going to take here? Is that what it's going to take? Some genuine goodness from whoever did this to turn this whole thing around?
No, Vinny, in watching all of these videos from Savannah, I feel that someone is helping her with these words because it seems so careful, and deliberate, the things that she's saying and the messages that the family has been given each and every time. You know, perhaps they're getting some advice as to what a potential person out there who has their mother, might need to hear in order to appeal to them, try to appeal to their, human nature. In one of the past videos, she talked about her mother, and how wise she is. And it just feels that each time, the way that they're stated, it's that they're trying to make a different type of statement, a different type of appeal to this, whoever has her mother. So I hope that it works eventually. I mean, it hasn't thus far, but I feel that they're really trying to say, no matter what state her mother may be in or what may have happened to her mother, because now 2 weeks have elapsed, it's never too late to turn yourself in. They're almost, they're not talking about payment anymore. They're not really talking about their mother directly anymore. They're more talking to this person. Please think about this and appealing to them. You can be okay, sort of, if you just come forward.
Vinny, I have to disagree with Jen on this one. And Jen, I never disagree with you. But I don't buy that. I mean, listen, they need to turn up the volume, make it loud, make it clear. There's that clear word again. They need billboards that say $500,000 for the return of this lady, or any information that leads to the return of this lady. Call 1-800 Crime-Stoppers. They need to get that guy from that, I forget the show that he does when they're looking for people all over the world.
John Walsh.
With the leather jacket. Yes, they need John Walsh on the case. They got to turn this thing up. I mean, she's given this plea that I don't think is from a professional. She's like, you got to do the right thing, and it's never too late. It's almost like, we love you, sir, or whatever. We forgive you. But it's falling short. And I'm not blaming her. She's doing the best she can. She's broken up. I'd be, broken up too. That's why I would turn it over to John Walsh, because I can't do this. And they need to let them know that we're steps behind you, and we're on you. And anybody else who knows about this, here's the money. Money makes people move, and so the family can't just say we will pay. Forget that. It needs to go to another agency. So I don't agree with Jennifer on this one. That she's being coached professionally. She sounds like she's just a pleading personally.
Well, I just want to say to Darnell,
I got to disagree.
They do have all those billboards. They do have all the billboards out there, and they have the record, and they have all that also going on. And I don't think there's anything wrong, especially with a public person like Savannah coming on and making an appeal directly to whomever may have her mother.
Not
There
strong
is
enough.
there is a need in all these types of situations to humanize not only the victim, but also the person who is involved with taking the victim. Okay? Appealing to their humanity is something that the FBI teaches in any type of hostage or negotiation situation where you've got innocent people being held against their will. So what she's doing is what she's being told to do. And she's being very, very human and appealing to humanity. Because we've seen in cases throughout the history of law enforcement that sometimes an individual gets a little stroke of like ethical question and then either sends in information or returns the person. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen here. I noticed that they're not talking about ransom anymore because it's never been a ransom situation. It's never been an abduction, okay? It's never been a situation where they were looking to kidnap this woman and get money. And that's why this thing is even more perplexing.
Okay, everyone stay where you are. Stay where you are, guys. We got to get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about gloves. We're going to talk about DNA evidence. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, we continue our in-depth coverage into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and take a look at this Range Rover, part of a big Friday night takedown. Why was the Range Rover seized? Tonight, we investigate.
In 2021, Dee Warner vanished without a trace.
Dale Warner. He's accused of murdering his wife, Dee. Rumors of a troubled marriage spread throughout this small community.
She had contemplated divorce several times.
Now, after years of searching for Dee Warner,
her remains are found on the couple's property.
Sealed inside a welded shut storage tank.
We're still going to fight to the end to see that she gets her justice.
The hidden murder of Dee Warner. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
That glove was found 2 miles away. Somebody called it in as a tip. We would be crazy not to say, oh yeah, go ahead, we don't need it. No, we're gonna go out and get it. In fact, since then, we've been widening our search patterns, which is pretty typical in these cases. And in that search, we've gone out almost, 5-10 miles, and we found lots of gloves. But
they have found lots of gloves, and this is a big part of the investigation right now. A huge part of this investigation. Welcome back to Closing Arguments. You can see right here, we've got the jury clock stopped. It's 7 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds. This is in the case out of Georgia against Edric Faust, accused of murdering Tara Baker, law student, back in 2001 up at the University of Georgia. Well, the jury has gone home for the night. They'll be back deliberating first thing in the morning. Verdict can happen at any moment. Make sure you're tuned in so you can see what happens in that case, which I covered many years ago. And I was wondering, were they ever going to arrest someone, ever catch someone? And we'll see if the jury agrees that they found the man, Edric Lamont Faust, who is in fact responsible for this, if he's the one. Okay, let's get back to the gloves. Important in this case, take a look at the suspect, right? This is the game-changing video that the FBI was able to get, and you notice a lot of things, especially those gloves that are right next to the camera trying to block it in that moment. So we know the suspect in this case was in fact wearing gloves as we take a look at those gloves on the hands of the suspect. So can you find those gloves? Where are they? Well, as you heard from the sheriff, they're finding gloves everywhere. And the FBI has released a statement saying that the glove found in the field about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home contains DNA. The glove was sent for DNA testing. The FBI received preliminary results on Saturday and is awaiting official confirmation. 16 gloves were found in various spots near the house, most of which were searchers' gloves that had been discarded. And that's crazy to me. Like, first the littering part of it, and then the second part of it, we're just throwing, well, they weren't looking for gloves at that moment. I'm sure they were searching for Nancy, but still, to just kind of toss those gloves everywhere. Let's take a listen to the sheriff talking about the gloves, the DNA, and the lab.
We've submitted all our evidence, and we have got back results with DNA. That's all I can speak to.
Yeah, and you're then gonna run,
Absolutely.
off of that.
Absolutely.
Off of that.
If we get a suspect, we hope to get a swab and validate it with the DNA.
Okay. There's a couple of layers to this, but chicken, egg, DNA, suspect, right? We're going to get a suspect, then we'll test them to the DNA. But if the sheriff has been paying attention, and I think he has been, sometimes you can use the DNA to find your suspect and not have to wait to get a suspect to compare the DNA. So how do you think this one's going to roll, Darnell? Do you think we're going to get a suspect and then try to match it to the DNA, or do you think the DNA may lead us to the suspect?
Well, before I get there, I'm reminded of the Karen Reed trial with the snowblower. You're spot on with the littering. That must be something our parents taught us not to do. So either they're getting their intelligence late or confused. But if you're looking for a glove, you don't throw more gloves around. So maybe when they were throwing gloves around, they didn't know they were looking for a glove, which they should have knew they were looking for a glove, because I'm sure they had that tape.
Well,
So
they may
you
not
shouldn't
have.
be
The initial searches were before they were able to retrieve that video, so they didn't know anything at that point.
No, they didn't release to us that they had a video, but they may have had it, because we discussed that they didn't release stuff to us until late to the public, so we don't know for sure. But let's assume they didn't. Don't litter anyway, because obviously it's a crime scene. So with that being said, I think that you get the DNA, and if it's in the data bank because the person's a felon, which most states like Connecticut, where I'm at, they require felons to submit a biological sample. So you get the DNA and you run it. You don't have to wait for someone. And then if you run it and you get a hit, then now you're good. So I say you get the DNA, you run it, and you see where you are at that point.
Al?
Well, I do think that you run it through, you don't wait to get a suspect. And I mean, if something happened in, I believe, good old Idaho, where we were able to get some DNA and then get the person who did it. Okay, so under the circumstances, I think you take whatever you can get at that point and go forward. There are plenty of resources that you can run that DNA if it's not in the system because the person was not a felon. You might be able to find it through 21 and me and
That'd be 23, Al. 23.
23 and me and ancestry.com. Okay, where they will have everything with regards to that, and you can run it through and hit some sort of mitochondrial DNA that links one to the other, and you find the suspect.
Yeah, the genetic genealogy, if there's no hits in the system, can lead to something. And I guess it's a balancing test, Jennifer, right? On the one hand, if in fact the glove is not found at Nancy's house, it could be anybody. Like it could be someone who was just driving. Apparently people litter there. They throw their gloves into the field. So maybe it was just someone else who threw their glove away. That is completely disconnected. But if the DNA is from the house, we're talking something much different here.
Yeah, and this glove, looking at the video, is a pretty distinctive looking glove. It's sort of a puffy glove. It looks a little puffy. And, it sounds like they found a glove that sort of matches what they saw on the video. And it was relatively close, about 2 miles away. Although I saw a video of someone driving that distance, and it seemed a lot farther than 2 miles. But nonetheless, it was within the reasonable vicinity. If it looked like that glove, and has DNA that they also found at the house, then, you know, it looks pretty promising that it'll lead to the suspect. And I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Something else that they're following up is the backpack. I want to talk about the backpack. Take a look at this. Investigators now working with Walmart management to develop leads. The Ozark Trail Hiker Pack is sold exclusively at Walmart stores. The Ozark Trail Hiker Pack is the only clothing item that has been definitively identified. So the backpack is crucial here, and that could be another road to a suspect here, Al.
Of course it can be. But I wanted to say with regards to the glove, Vin, as you know, we were discussing on the podcast, it looks like the glove is over another glove. So that might be why it's puffy, and that's why it looks like it's the way it is. I think that glove is over another glove. So it wasn't just this, because a glove would ordinarily be very tight fitting on the hand. So that's it on that. With regards to the backpack, absolutely. And I think that the FBI, I thought I heard reports that the clothing seems to have come from Walmart also. So it's another situation where they can start looking through videos and things along those lines. Even if it was cash, they still might be able to find the person in there shopping, picking that up, and then picking up some clothing.
That's the beauty of the barcode. Boop, 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 and it creates a trail. All right, think tank staying with us. When we come back, authorities searching big SWAT raid about 2 miles from Nancy's house. We'll talk about that next. There it is, the Range Rover that was towed from the Culver's parking lot. Part of a raid that was done by investigators in the case, in the search for Nancy Guthrie. This vehicle was taken away. At the same time, there was activity at a home nearby. Very, very big weekend and a big night, late night Friday into early morning Saturday. All of this was happening. Take a look at this. We've got law enforcement activity. This was put out by the Sheriff's Department at 1:47 a.m. So this is early morning Saturday, Friday night into early morning Saturday. Law enforcement activities underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Street related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. And they canceled a press conference, and apparently the FBI doesn't want any of the information related to any of this released. But it was a big deal. It was a big deal. I was watching the videos as it was happening, blocking off the road. SWAT raid team goes in, clears the house, SWAT leaves, and then like 20 vehicles go in to investigate. And then by the next day, it seemed like it was cleared out. Let me show you a map so you can see exactly where it is in relation to Nancy's house. Close by, it's like 2 miles away. But again, you got to drive up and then across, and you can see it's basically in the same vicinity of Nancy Guthrie's house, not far away at all. And then you can take a listen to Brian Enton on YouTube and News Nation reporting on all of this, about the SWAT raid on Friday night. He shared what he saw on his YouTube channel.
It was 2 big, like, Bearcat SWAT trucks. I would say maybe 24 deputies. Everyone was just a lot of armor. I mean, it was very, very serious. We got in there before they put the police perimeter up, and we could tell that they didn't have to use force. The man and the woman surrendered outside of the house, and there was no issue there from what I could tell. And from what my sources are telling me. And at the same exact time, they were able to get a man from the traffic stop who is also connected to the same situation.
All right, the reports were, Jennifer, no one was arrested. 3 people were detained while all this is taking place. The Range Rover at Culver's is connected to this house that is raided. SWAT goes in, investigators everywhere. They didn't randomly choose this. It seems there must be some evidence leading them in this direction. And to me, that's a significant development.
It would be be significant if something more happened, if somebody was arrested. But as far as we know, nothing's really going on with this. But it could be one of those situations where we just don't know. And maybe the FBI is doing more to look into this situation. But now they seem more focused on the DNA and the glove. And I think that's going to give us our best shot at getting some real answers.
Yeah, Al, as I was watching everything transpire on Friday night into Saturday, I was wondering, was it a tip? What would it take in order to give them the ability to have a judge sign whatever needed to be signed to take the Range Rover, to go into the house, to detain the people?
Absolutely. As that day, you and I were communicating back and forth, and I was watching that YouTube broadcast as well as on the news what was going on, and I really did think there was going to be something of, there was going to be cataclysmic for this event and was going to help us find an answer. And I can't tell you how depressed I was at 2 a.m. when it just was much ado about nothing. But they had to have a solid tip. It had to be something a little bit more than a tip. They had to have information that would have led them to believe that there was something there substantial, and they got that to a judge. The only way a judge is signing a warrant for a search warrant on something like that is there has to be something there that is truthful, that is pointing to a situation that they know could lead to an arrest.
Darnell, do you get the feeling that they thought maybe, just maybe, Nancy could have been in that home if they sent SWAT in there?
No, not. I doubt it. But to Al's point with the judge, this is more than just the officers having a good faith belief. They do have to swear. I see them many times where they come into chambers. They have to put their right hand up, and they have to swear that the stuff that's contained in their written affidavit is true to their best of their knowledge, and it's also backed up with some kind of investigation. So they just can't have a hunch and get a judge to sign a warrant. That's the way it works typically. But when I'm in there and I see them do it, I always tell the judge, your rubber stamp is in your right-hand side drawer, Judge, because I don't think they read them anyway. But if it goes the way it's supposed to go, they're supposed to have research, investigation, and then have some kind of belief that's connected to that investigation. But in terms of the truck, they were looking at the truck, and I think they were looking at the tire marks because there's very distinctive different tire tracks that could have been left. And so once they found the tire tracks, they found the truck. Once they found the truck, they had to go into the home where the owner either lived or resided. But I don't think they thought she was in there.
All right, big thanks. Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt, always appreciate it. Thank you so much. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, as the search for Nancy Guthrie and her abductors continues, we take a look at the evidence. Could one person have pulled this off alone? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Corey, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of grief?
The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage begins February 23rd on Court TV.
Hey.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Accused school shooter's dad. He's the one on trial, brand new trial on Court TV. Colin Gray pleaded not guilty to 29 charges, including 2 counts of second-degree murder for the Apalachee High School shooting. Let's take a look at the case against Colin Gray.
This is not a case about holding parents accountable for what their children do. That's not what this case is about. This case is about this defendant and his actions. His actions in allowing a child that he has custody over access to a firearm and ammunition after being warned that that child was going to harm others. This is a case about his actions and the horrific consequences of them. At 10:21 a.m., that boy exits the bathroom he'd been hiding in. He's now wearing yellow work gloves. He's carrying that Sig Sauer M400 AR style rifle concealed with a poster board. And he walks back down J Hall towards his second period class. He knocks on the door. A student in that class gets up, goes to the door to open it for him, but sees through the class at the last second him standing there with that rifle. She steps back from the door. At that exact moment, the teachers also reach the door because they've been looking for this boy, remember? And she sees through the glass him standing there outside their door with that Sig Sauer M400. She immediately presses a button on a lanyard that's around her neck that locks down the school. The boy then steps next door to the Ryan Edwards classroom and he opens fire.
The evidence will show a teenager who is struggling mentally, a teenager who is deceptive, a teenager who hid his true intentions from everyone, from his family, from his counselor, from his siblings, and most especially from his father. The evidence will show a father who did not ignore his child. He did not abandon his child. He did not turn his back on his child. The evidence will show between Colin Gray and Colt Gray daily contact, daily effort, and active steps by Colin Gray to seek mental health intervention for his son through the school. The evidence will show that the most important facts, the planning of this shooting, the concealment of this shooting, and the timeline of this shooting were hidden by Colt Gray from his father. That's the difference between tragedy and criminal liability. Who is Colin Gray? He's a working father raising 3 kids by himself. He had responsibilities, he had a job, he had a family to keep afloat. He had 2 other kids besides Cole. He was involved. You'll see his text messages to his children. You'll see his text messages to Colt. This is not a parent who's turning his back on what's going on right in front of him.
At this point, we've been talking about missing assignments and different things because he had only been there for 2 days, but he asked whether or not we'd ever had an active shooter drill before.
And what did you tell him?
Yeah, we actually had one last week, but he wasn't there for the drill.
When he asked you that, did that concern you?
I mean, you don't expect to hear that in the classroom. I mean, we hear about school shootings, but you don't think it's going to happen to you. So it was a little bit alarming.
Trial continues tomorrow right here on your front row seat to justice. Right now, please take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Raymond Chavoya. Raymond is just 17 years old, missing from Las Vegas. If you see Raymond, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the North Las Vegas Police Department in Nevada. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we get Raymond to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.